Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, President Joe Biden reacts today to the election of the former and future President Donald Trump.
You can't love your country only when you win. You can't love your neighbor only when you agree.
We'll also have up-to-date results on your razor-close local races.
And later, the Rockbridge County High School's vocational school will reopen in January.
We want our students to graduate with the skills that they need to go, straight to work. Not every student will go straight to college.
Then Katie Eubanks tells us to expect a return to seasonable temperatures next week.
After that, Washington and Lee's men's soccer team is headed to the ODAC Finals. We interviewed the goalie who defended their 3-2 lead. All that and more coming up right now on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Emmy Amison.
And I'm Caden Buss. President Joe Biden spoke to reporters today for the first time since former President Trump won against Vice President Kamala Harris in Tuesday's election. Trump gave his victory speech Wednesday morning. Harris gave her concession speech yesterday afternoon. Biden said he wanted to deliver a message of unity to the American people. He also praised the integrity of the U.S. electoral process.
You can't love your country only when you win. You can't love your neighbor only when you agree. Something I hope we can do no matter who you voted for is see each other not as adversaries, but as fellow Americans.
Trump also became the first Republican candidate to win the popular vote since George W. Bush in 2004. Trump had 50.9% of the vote to Harris's 47.6%. Trump won narrow victories over Harris in key battleground states of Michigan, North Carolina, and Georgia, but his win in Pennsylvania clinched his victory. His lead in the Electoral College is substantial, with 295 votes, 25 more than needed to win. And for the Lexington School Board's first ever election, it was close. Only 51 votes separate second place from the fourth place finisher. Megan Ferguson is the only one who did not get a seat on the board with 23% of the vote.
Now let's look at for City Council. Madeline Robinson is the only one not to receive a seat with only 18% of the vote.
And incumbent Lexington Mayor Frank Friedman won an unopposed election with over 94% of the vote.
In Buena Vista, two candidates ran to fill one unexpired seat on City Council. Stanley Coffey won with 53% of the vote.
And in Glasgow, three candidates ran for 3 open seats on Town Council, essentially unopposed. All 3 candidates got a seat.
In Goshen, 3 candidates ran for 2 spots on Town Council. Jeff Schaefer is the only one not to receive a seat with 23% of the vote.
Let's review the results for your congressional candidates. In the Senate, incumbent Tim Kaine won re-election with 54% of the vote to Hung Cow's 46%.
And in the U.S. House District 6, incumbent Ben Klein won with 63% of the vote to Ken Mitchell.
If you missed it, the Rockbridge Report's election night coverage is available to stream on our YouTube channel. Check out our other election stories at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
A Richmond precinct chief was dismissed hours into Election Day after voters were given the wrong ballot. The registrar's office said the incident happened at the Calhoun Center in Richmond Tuesday morning. An untrained poll worker gave out 11 wrong ballots. However, by law, it was too late to change anything once their ballot was cast. The Richmond Electoral Board let go of former precinct chief Barbara Bergen, and another one was sworn in. Bergen apologized for the error and said she was not the one responsible for the mix-up. She said the untrained worker passed out federal ballots by accident.
Classes to help inmates obtain their GED certifications in the Rockbridge Regional Jail will restart after being suspended during COVID. The Shenandoah Initiative for Adult Education will hire 2 part-time teachers to offer classes in the facility. The Rockbridge Report's Alejandra Pacheco is live outside the jail. Alejandra, what else can you tell us about these programs?
Well, Caden, the jail planned to restart the classes this fall, but Lieutenant Kathy Painter, Chief of Jail Security, said they've had some setbacks as they look to hire certified teachers and get basic classroom materials. The Shenandoah Initiative for Adult Education oversees adult education programs around the state, including Rockbridge County and Lexington, as well as both Rockingham and Middle River regional jails. The jail will be able to offer classes like welding, carpentry, plumbing, electrical training, and cabinetry. Live for the Rockbridge Report, I'm Alejandra Pacheco. Back to you, Caden.
Thanks, Alejandra.
Lexington businesses are just starting to bounce back from a slow summer. Business owners say it's tough in the summer when students leave and tourism drops. Lexington Finance Director Jennifer Bell says sales tax since June are almost 4% below last year's at this time. This reflects lower sales in the city from the beginning of summer through September. But events like Parents and Family Weekend at W&L and VMI gave stores and restaurants a much-needed boost from last month. Read Kate Keeley's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
There's a new change on the horizon for Lexington's business landscape, and it might be sad news for frequent shoppers downtown. The Rockbridge Report's Kate Keeley has the developing details.
The building on the corner of North Main and East Washington has been home to Pumpkin Seeds for 22 years. Now, the building is under contract with a new owner, and the gift shop, which sells eclectic and locally made gifts, is being forced to relocate. Owner Siobhan Deeds says this was unexpected for her and her co-owner, Tom Lomax.
Well, it's really sad for us, actually, because it's like our home, and this building's pretty iconic, and people know it as Pumpkin Seeds.
The news came after the building's former owner died last month. Deeds says the building was swiftly put up for sale.
Our landlord came down and said he had passed away, and then his sons were not interested in keeping the building, and so it would go up for sale. And so it did, and it was pretty quick.
She found out last week that the building was under contract. The sale is pending on the nearly $700,000 property, according to J.F. Brown Real Estate's listing. Tony Brown, a real estate broker at the company, couldn't confirm when the sale would be final. Deeds plans to keep her customers updated on the situation through social media. She says that support from locals has kept her going through this tough time.
And the outpouring of love from the community has just been wonderful. So I know that wherever we go, we will be followed, but it's hard. It's like going through grief for us right now.
Locals have speculated about who the buyer of the building is, but that information hasn't been made public yet.
Deeds says this Christmas will be Pumpkin Seed's last one in this space, and the store will close sometime next year. It will reopen shortly after in a storefront downtown that is yet to be decided on. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Kate Keeley.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, Rockbridge County's vocational school will be ready in January after a year and a half of renovations.
Our program's up to industry standard, so if you see it in the business world, you'll see it in our innovation center.
And later, an airport in Israel grounds flights after debris falls nearby. All that coming up next on the Rockbridge Report. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Rockbridge County High School has been renovating their vocational school for the last year and a half. Whether it's welding, caring for rabbits, or cutting hair, students need new equipment and facilities to learn. The Rockbridge Report's Juliana Stevenson has the story.
The Rockbridge Innovation Center will welcome students on January 6, 2025. After almost 50 years in the old Career Center, administrators say the building could no longer handle new equipment and technology.
We're bringing all of our programs up to industry standard, so if you see it in the business world, you'll see it in our innovation center.
More than 75% of Rockbridge County high school students are involved in one of the 16 vocational programs, including auto mechanics, culinary arts, nurse aid, building trades, and technology. In some programs, the students graduate with certificates that allow them to enter directly into the workforce.
We want our students to graduate with the skills that they need to go, straight to work. Not every student will go straight to college.
During renovations, the students have been learning in classrooms at the high school and at Mountain Gateway Community College, as well as in tents behind the high school. Students are excited to use the new facility.
I'm constantly hearing, having kids and teachers and other staff members asking, hey, can we go look, have a tour and look at the new facility?
Administrators say the renovated space will help better serve the community's needs.
whether it's, we're having trouble getting linemen for the power company, or servers in our local restaurants, or, workers just for our factories. So we meet with all of our business owners on a regular basis. They provide us feedback, and then we go to work designing programs that we can use to put workers into our community.
Administrators say the best parts of the facility are the open, spacious areas and the new equipment. The building is scheduled to be completed on December 24th.
We are about 6 weeks ahead of schedule, so we're hopeful that by the first or second week in November, this project will be wrapped up.
Walter says the definitive finish date will be decided at next Thursday's construction meeting with the Rockbridge County School Board and the Board of Supervisors. With the Rockbridge Report, I'm Juliana Stevenson.
Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly of Virginia announced he's battling cancer of the esophagus. The 74-year-old said he will undergo chemotherapy and immunotherapy right away. He said cancer can be tough, but so is he, and he'll attack the cancer with Irish fight and humor. Connolly represents Virginia's 11th congressional district. It's an affluent and diverse area in northern Virginia in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. He's held the seat since 2009 and was re-elected to his 9th term on Tuesday.
Flights at Tel Aviv Ben Gurion Airport were briefly suspended yesterday morning after a projectile landed on the grounds of the airport. Officials say either a rocket or debris from an interceptor hit an empty parking lot near the airport's runway. A geolocated image from CNN shows a small crater in the ground. But the Israeli military says the hit was just one of approximately 10 projectiles that crossed from Lebanon into northern and central Israel. A town just north of the airport saw impacts from several pieces of debris, including one that smashed through the front window of a vehicle. The strikes came from a militant group. Hezbollah said they were mourning 40 days, a significant milestone in Islam since its former leader was slain. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, wildfires in California are burning homes to the ground, leaving several people injured. An evacuation order is in effect near Los Angeles.
When you get an evac order from the sheriff, leave. These aren't one of those fires where you can wait and predict and maybe stay home.
It has definitely been a hot one here in Lexington, but luckily we are going to see more of those fall temperatures heading into this weekend and next week. Tune into my forecast for more. I'm Katie Eubanks with the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. 2 wildfires are exploding just outside Los Angeles. Officials say several people are hurt as a result of one of them. Dozens of homes are in ashes and thousands of people are under evacuation orders. CNN's Amy Kiley reports on why officials call this a particularly dangerous fire weather event.
Multiple people are hurt as rapidly growing wildfires burn and threaten homes outside Los Angeles. Forecasters say powerful winds and dry conditions are creating a particularly dangerous situation.
When you get an evac order from the sheriff, leave. These aren't one of those fires where you can wait and predict and maybe stay home.
The broad fire is in Malibu, a coastal suburb of LA.
It's burning over the bluff and it's heading towards the homes.
Officials say the bigger concern is the mountain fire in nearby Ventura County.
Every helicopter, every fixed-wing aircraft, everything we've been able to get a hold of is here fighting this fire.
The fire department says the blaze has sent several people to the hospital.
We're burning.
Dude, look at you. Your shirt is singed.
Dozens of houses appear burned in its wake.
Sadness, devastation.
These men are pointing at homes they helped save.
Shovels and garden hoses, believe it or not. We had no pressure.
Officials say remaining near a fire like that is dangerous. They say thousands of people are under evacuation orders.
Your homes can be replaced. Your lives can't. Leave.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
No, Kaden, I got caught in a light drizzle in downtown Lexington this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I finally had to break out my umbrella today. But Katie, am I gonna need my jacket anytime soon?
It's definitely been a hot one here in Lexington lately, but luckily we are going to start seeing some more of those fall conditions transitioning into this week and next weekend. So specifically, here is our live shot here in rural Rockbridge County. We do have a cloud coverage right now, definitely some warm temperatures. Now looking at our current conditions, currently our high is 79 degrees and our low is 56. Barometric pressure at 30.11 inches and wind speed at 5 miles per hour, and our humidity is at 55%. Now, when taking a look at our radar, we do have some spotty cloud coverage looking here, but currently we do not have any rain in Lexington, but we do have some in the surrounding areas. Now, when observing current conditions, here in Lexington, it is 79 degrees. We do have a cloud coverage. Stanton, 77 degrees. Charlottesville, 79. Buena Vista, 79. And then taking a look over here to the west in Covington, it is currently 75 degrees. Now, when taking a look at our 5-day forecast here, Friday is going to be a high of 70 degrees. Definitely still maintaining those warm temperatures with a low in the 50s. And then when taking a look at this weekend, it is going to be 63 degrees on Saturday with a low of 37, and then Sunday is going to be 58 degrees and 48 as our low with a little bit of rain moving in there. And then looking at next week, Monday and Tuesday, 70 degrees with a low of 50, and then Tuesday 64 with a low of 44. Definitely starting to transition into those better fall conditions. Now, I don't know about you guys, but these conditions definitely make me ready for fall sports. Back to you, Emmy and Caden.
Thanks, Katie. Coming up, Washington and Lee men's soccer advances to the ODAC championships. Mackenzie Kane speaks to the goalie who made the narrow win possible.
And later, a new weaving exhibit in Lexington with artwork dating back to the 1800s. All that coming up on the Rockbridge Report. It's definitely November, which means it's going to be rivalry week.
So, Emmy, down in Florida, that wasn't the case. It was not so good scene down there. Devin, what happened in Florida?
Well, it got physical at the football game. Body cam footage captured heated moments between deputies and football fans on Saturday at the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville. And I want to warn you, the video you're about to see could be disturbing for some. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office arrested 4 people related to 2 incidents. 35 people ended up being ejected from the game in 1 incident. A man can be heard telling police officers he would kill them. He yelled racial slurs at officers, and officers were alerted to the man after he allegedly made threats to a stadium employee and claimed she was trying to kidnap his children. In the second incident later that evening, several men got into an altercation with officers about being asked to leave the game. Officers can be seen on camera punching the men multiple times, and 1 deputy deployed a stun gun. All 4 men were charged with battery on law enforcement officers, resisting an officer with violence, disorderly intoxication, and trespassing. They were released from jail on Sunday. In local sports, Washington and Lee's men's soccer team beat West Virginia Wesleyan 3-2 in a hard-fought victory. The win secures general spot in the weekend's ODAC championship. The Rockbridge Report's Mackenzie Kane talks to the goalie who helped the Generals hold their lead.
Good evening, Rockbridge. I'm here at Washington and Lee's Watt Field, where the Generals men's soccer team has punched their ticket to the 2024 ODAC Finals. And joining me here on field is junior goalie Will Joseph. Now, Will, once the Marlins made this a 1-point game, it seemed like the team's defensive efforts kicked into overdrive with you in front of the net. Walk me through the energy you saw on field as that clock wind down.
Yeah, absolutely. This game really reminded me, honestly, of the round of 32 where we played SUNY Oneonta. And when we're in a tough game like that, where it's super tight, everyone just hunkers down and everyone just gets so gritty, and it's really what we need as well for a team as like when we're very offensive, and we need these defensive moments because we're going to be playing more challenging teams, especially when we go to the NCAA tournament. So these moments are huge for us.
Now, with the number 1 seed Lynchburg winning their game tonight, they've secured the home field advantage for this weekend's finals game. How do you plan on preparing as you guys head on the road this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, as you guys watched, this game was super intense, lots of emotions, lots of physicality, and the bodies are going to be pretty sore tomorrow. So recovery, hydration, all of that type of stuff is going to be huge for us tomorrow. And then mentally, I think all of us just got to start getting prepared, get out of our school mindsets. If we have exams, whatever that might be, that's what it's like being a college athlete, especially at WNL. And we're going to be locked in on Saturday, and we're going to have a big crowd come down to Lynchburg, and we're going to have some retribution on Saturday. Bring it back to them.
Well, Will, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time tonight. Best of luck moving forward this
Thank you.
weekend. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
The number 11 Generals women's soccer team is also rolling through the ODAC tournament. They won their quarterfinal game on Tuesday 3-0 against Roanoke College. The Generals play in the semifinals at home tomorrow versus Randolph-Macon at 5 p.m. And number 14 W&L Volleyball won the CNU tri-match with wins over Marymount and Christopher Newport in straight sets. VMI football picked up their first win of the year with a 21-17 victory over Furman after a stifling Kedat defense forced 4 sacks and 2 turnovers. And it's hoop seasons at VMI, so men's basketball started out their year strong behind an offensive barrage from the Kedats, who defended Washington College 103-54 in their season opener. SVU women's soccer team upset number 1 seed Brevard in the U.S. South Conference Tournament semifinals after outshooting the Tornadoes 3-1 in a penalty shootout in North Carolina.
Thanks, Devin. A new exhibit at the Rockbridge Historical Society on Washington Street in Lexington will focus on weavings by local families dating back to the 1800s. The Rockbridge Report's Liz Trubeck has the story.
And throw the shutter through there.
Local weaver Frances Richardson helped create a new weaving exhibit. The exhibit features patterns that have been replicated and restored by modern weavers to illustrate the lives of local families.
It's a glimpse into how much effort had to go into just everyday life. You sometimes get histories of women, but they're nearly always special women like Amelia Earhart. You know, these were just folks.
But Richardson says the real star of the exhibit is Violet, a wooden loom where textile patterns are still woven.
This one weaver I uncovered who wove really boring fabrics, not fancy bed covers. She would take those into the store and get credit. So this was a glimpse of a working woman. She was just keeping bread on the table. So I named my loom Violet in her honor.
Lori Duxbury, another weaver and textile expert, says weaving was and still is an outlet for many women.
Particularly in women's crafts. It was a way that women could express themselves. They could clothe themselves, keep themselves warm, their families warm. See, these objects as extensions of the people who were really weaving them.
Rockbridge Historical Society Executive Director Eric Wilson says the textiles also represent the economic and social state of the time.
The particular craft of weaving allows us to show how the economic and social relationships of Rockbridge County were representative of an important period in our county history.
Wilson says the exhibit resonates with non-locals too.
Many people can come in and see these kinds of artifacts and see these tools and think about how their own family and community histories are related. Whether they're from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Alabama, there's a sense that my great-great-great-grandmother was involved in this kind of work.
The exhibit will be open on weekends for viewing through the end of the year. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Liz Trubeck.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report.
Thanks for watching.